Krazogg's Grunta Stampede. There's a question mark at the end of that, so thanks to all the patrons. Wybarian, Baron of Dice. Okay, so I'm thinking this might actually be maybe the best Ironjawz list right now. I don't know. I'm kind of struggling, not gonna lie. I'm struggling to come up with an Ironjawz list that that scores tactics, because in my previous video, I'm not sure if you watched it or missed it, but we were looking at some different lists, and where I'm at right now is you either need to have a list that's going to have a lot of mobility and be able to kill your opponent's squishy things that they don't want you to kill to score treasures and master the paths, or you have to have like a lot of scouts and be really aggressive, like a 2-drop Alpha Strike list to score like Restless Energy, Attuned to Gyran, and the other one that we're going to talk about here in a minute. So this Ironjawz list does, I think, the latter of those things. This is a list called the Big Pig Jig. That was from Will. He's a friend of the channel. He's a West Coast gamer, and yeah, I've had him on the channel before, and I was supposed to meet up with him tonight and talk, but our schedules just didn't align, unfortunately. So he went 4-1 recently. I believe it was 4-1. This is Will Reeves with this list, Krazogg's Grunta Stampede. And I think that there's maybe some slight variation in how you build this Grunta Stampede list. But before I saw this list, I sat down and wrote my own, and this is what I came up with, just because the points, it works out exactly to 2,000 points. So I think this is kind of just what the list is. You can run a bunch of big pigs, but I just think that the cavalry pigs are better. So anyway, it's the Army of Renown, and we'll talk about what those rules are in a sec, but we're just going to look at the list first. So it plays Attuned to Gyran and Restless Energy as the battle tactics. So we'll have a closer look at those here in a bit. But the General's Regiment is a Tusk Boss on Maw Grunta with the 2 enhancements. You don't get a choice of enhancements, but we'll look at those in a little bit more detail shortly. Then it's 1, 2, 3 units of Gore Gruntas, and then another 4th unit of Gore Gruntas that's reinforced. So far we're at 5 times 3 pigs. Second Regiment is a 2nd Tusk Boss. It's the only hero that we can take. And then another unit of Gore Gruntas, which brings us to a total of 6, which is 18 individual models. And then a Maw Grunta Gouger and a Maw Grunta with Hack and Crew with exactly 2,000 points. It says the Boss Rock Tower, but I don't think... Let me know in the comments below, but I don't think you can take faction terrain with Armies of Renown. I thought that they were kind of like off limits. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe they're specific. But I thought that you just can't take them. Regardless, I think even if you can take it, I don't think you put it on the table here. So regardless, it might just be one of those BCP things. But please let me know in the comments below, because that was my sort of reading on this. Okay, so it's basically one of each big pig with a 2nd Tusk Boss and then a whole bunch of Maw Grunta Gougers. Okay, so what are the actual rules here? Where's my thing? I gotta pull this up this way. Okay, so the battle traits. So first of all, let's think about what we're losing, right? Because talking about what we gain is only relative in the context of what we're actually losing. So we're losing 5 things, essentially. The first thing that we're losing is Mighty Destroyers. Mighty Destroyers is a very good rule. However, I think it's best with our slow, grindy infantry. I think it's best with like brutes and Ardboys, where we're like moving our infantry forward and getting them into combat and like grinding them into our opponent. I think that obviously the rule is still very good with like Gruntas and Gougers, but I think it's less good with the pigs than it is with the infantry. But it is still very good, and we are losing it, and that does suck. We're also losing Brute Fist, so it's like Mighty Destroyers is easily the most powerful rule that we're losing. We're also losing the Ironjawz Wah. So +1 attacks. This isn't all that great with pigs. It's just not. It's really good with infantry when we have a brick of like 10 or 20 units where we're getting 10 or 20 additional attacks. But with a unit of 6 Gruntas, we're getting 12 additional attacks. It's not as efficient to have an Iron Jaws Wa. So we're not losing all that much. We're losing spells. So we do have some good spells, but the spell lore is kind of like, it's fine. We also can't take the manifestations of Gorka Morka. But that being like, Mork Spitmarsh isn't that good if we're playing all pigs. Stopping our opponent from running and redeploying isn't all that important when we're playing an Alpha Strike really aggressive list. Same thing with the Foot of Gork. These spells I think are best in Cruel Boys or in an infantry Iron Jaws list. In a pig spam list, I don't think that they're all that good. And then the Gork Rora is only as good as the other spells that we're gonna cast. And like I said, like the teleport spell, fine, but we're a really fast army. Anyway, Mighty Edbutt is easily our worst one. I can't remember the last time that I cast it. It's really good against Marathi, but not that much else. And Basham Lance is really good, but again, we're not throwing like huge volumes of dice because, you know, we're running like cavalry. We're not running those reinforced infantry bricks. So Basham Lance is not all that it's not as good with pigs as it is with infantry. So the things that we're losing aren't really that important for the list that we're going to be playing, right? The war beats are good. Obviously, getting more damage and charging and stuff is really good. But you know, this might be the next thing after Mighty Destroyers that we're losing. That's really strong. But so that's what we're losing. We're also losing, yeah, the manifestations. We're losing the ability to cast spells, right? Because we can't take any spellcasters at all. So that does hurt a little bit, the fact that we can't actually, you know, ban it. Well, we can ban its manifestations. We just have to use Places of Power. But we're not going to be casting our own manifestations. But again, and I don't think that we really put the Boss Rock Tower on the table, if I'm being honest. And I think the reason is quite easy to answer. The Boss Rock Tower is really a control piece in Iron Jaws. You know, we also don't have a shouty boss, so this range is only going to be 12 inches, so we're not losing an 18-inch range. We're just losing a 12-inch range. So, yeah, it's like roll the die, add 1 to the roll if the terrain feature has a shouty boss. On a 4-up/3-up, pick one of the following effects. Subtract 3 from the target's control score. We're going to take the map, and we're going to punch them in the face. So, it's like, it's not that good. Subtract 1 from the casting and or chanting rolls for the target. Again, we're playing on their side of the map, and this is only a 12-inch aura. So it's like whatever. And subtract 1 from the number of dice rolled when making a charge roll. Again, not going to be that important because we're going to be up in their face and we're going to be pinning them with all of these pigs. And so basically by leaving the faction terrain off the table, even if we get to take it, because I'm pretty sure we don't get to take it, but I could be mistaken. The fact that Will had this in his list makes me double think. But I'm kind of like, just don't even take it because it's a piece of terrain your opponent can control. It's a charge point that your opponent can charge to. It like just leave it off the table. You don't even need it, right? You don't even need it. Look how many bloody pigs this is. Each one of these is 5 wounds. It's 18 times 5, which is 90 wounds just in the little pigs. 90 wounds on a 3-up save. That's so much meat. If you hit your opponent with this, they're not getting out from under it. Your big pigs can just charge around in circles, and then when your little pigs leave holes, the big pigs can charge in with max momentum and slap. Okay, so what are we actually getting? What are we actually getting? Turns out quite a lot. Incessant Drive. Add 1 to the momentum score of friendly Grunta units. End of the first battle round. We lose momentum at the end of the battle round, but not the first battle round. We're going to keep all of our momentum going into turn 2. Little thing, but fine. Once per battle army, deployment phase. Fast and Furious. Pick a friendly non-hero Grunta Stampede unit to be the target. The target can immediately make a normal move as if it were your movement phase. Deployment phase move. Pretty strong. pretty strong. If our opponent is trying to take the center, we can put 3 Gruntas right in the center. It's like, well, now you can't do a Toon Tigairan. If our opponent is also playing an Alpha Strike list and they get to go first, we can just put 3 pigs in the front and just move them up off the line and say, it's literally on your half of the board. Our pigs are literally on your half of the board. So come at me, I guess. You could do it with 3, and if you wanted to, you could do it with a unit of 6. You could also do it with a monster, but I really think what you would be doing is you'd be doing it with cavalry. You would just be turning them sideways, right? You would just be taking them and turning them like this and being like, yep, like, come get me, right? You could also do it with a unit like this. But look how much space this takes up. 6 Gruntas take up so much space on the table. If you wanted to create like just a line where your opponent is going to have a hard time coming through to get you, you can. Oops, that's the doggy doorbell going off. It's like, boop, there's my wall. Come get me. Monstrous Momentum. Add the current battle round to the move characteristic of your Grunta Stampede units. At the start of the game, it's obviously round 1, every one of your pigs gets +1 move, which means they're all at 10 move or 11 move. I'm pretty sure that all of the Gruntas, or the Gougers, all the Maw Grunta Gougers, all have a move speed of 10. So they start the game with a move speed of 11. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's like, it adds up. Like, it's quite a bit of extra movement. And then in round 2, it's like they have 12 move and then 13 move, right? Like, having 12-inch move little pigs is cool. It's movement, right? It means, yeah, it's good. Once per turn, army any charged phase, eaten onto hoof. Pick a friendly Grunta Stampede monster that has not used a rampage this turn to use this ability. Then pick a visible enemy unit in combat with it to be a target. Roll a die and add the momentum score of the units of the unit using this ability to the roll. If the result exceeds the target's health characteristic, one model in the target unit is slain. This is actually shockingly good when going into like elite units like Rock Guts that have 5 health, because the rampages that we have, so if we have 1 Gouger, we have the Strike Last rampage, right? Oh, I thought it was, yeah, it is a rampage. The Hacken crew, their rampage is Carve a Path, which happens in our movement phase, which means that the Hacken crew is actually a good target to do this because it happens in the charge phase, and the Hacken crews doesn't. So I think rampage is limited to 1. It must be 1 per turn, but still, like in our off turn, we can use this with the Hacken crew, which seems pretty good. And the Tusk boss's rampage is when we charge in, but we have 2 of them, so if both are charging in, one can use this rampage and the other one can use the other rampage. But it's pretty good. Like, adding 3, it's like, that means if you is it greater than if it exceeds the targets. So if the target has 5 health and we're adding 3, it's a 3-up, remove a Rock Gut. It's a 3-up, remove a Grunta. That's a pretty decent rampage. It's a pretty decent rampage. Let's see. And like, there's so many things that we're getting here, right? There's lots of things that we're getting here. Once per battle army deployment phase, pick a friendly Grunta Stampede hero to be the target for the rest of the battle. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for shooting attacks that target that hero while it's wholly within 6 inches of a friendly non-Grunta Stampede unit. So one of your Tusk bosses just gets this extra trait, Wall of Hog Flesh, just to keep it safe. So I think that the way that Will wrote his list is that he gave all the enhancements to one of the Tusk bosses. There's only 2, right? So you could give 1 to one and 1 to the other, or you could pile them up on one. But I have a feeling this is the one that he protected against shooting, right? Like, put both enhancements and then put this 3rd enhancement onto one Tusk boss. And then what I think is the most powerful ability, Once per battle, army, your charge phase, the Grunta Wa. Pick a hero to be the target. For the rest of the turn, the following effects apply to friendly Grunta Stampede units while they're wholly within 18 inches of the target. Wholly within 18 inches is a pretty big range, right? It's not small. Being wholly within 18 is quite a bit. Let's just have a look here, just so we can visualize. I'm going to have to do this really fast, but here's a Tusk Boss. We're going to put this in its description, attach the script. Let's make sure that it's 18, and then this thing should probably come down to about this. Yep. Look at what wholly within 18 actually is on the table. This has probably got 2 of these things. Yep. That should probably do it. Wholly within 18 is a lot. If you're in a pretty central location, you're going to be getting almost everything, or the majority of things in your army. You can reroll charge rolls for the units. Awesome. When it's your go turn, it's your go turn. Your things are getting in. You're going to use this right away. If you're doing an Alpha Strike, you're going to do this immediately. The Tusk Boss is going to move right up into the center of the board. Everything gets to reroll the charge rolls. Add 1 to the attack characteristics of those Maw Grunta's Trotters. Pretty underwhelming. Not gonna lie. Right? Adding 1 attacks to the Trotters is like, whatever. Let's see. Do the Gore Gruntas have Trotters too? No, they don't have Trotters. So this is really underwhelming, but that's okay. Rerolling charges is sick. And here's the best part. Roll a d6 instead of a d3 when determining the amount of mortal damage inflicted by the Gore Grunta charge ability of those units. That's this. This is a 2-up d3 mortals. Becomes a 2-up d6 mortals. We have 5 of these units. We have 5 units coming in. That's 5 2-up d6s. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of mortal wounds. And this is right off the bat. As soon as you charge in, punch, 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 d6, 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 d6. You can do this repeatedly to the same unit. You can charge like 3. You can have one that's like a pin in the front, and then you can have 3 or even 4 units that are charging in to like 2 different targets and really trying to blow it up. It's a lot of d6. If you spike with this, like... Oh, sorry. Hold on one sec. The average from 5d6 is about 13.5 mortal wounds. So it's a good way to get things started. And then on top of that, of course, you know, we have anti-cavalry +1 rend, and we do have the tusks with charge +1 damage. So, yeah, all-out attack. It would be nice on the group of 6, but unfortunately there's nothing else in the army that we can really use to buff this +1 to hit. So, yeah, but that's what we're getting. So we're losing, like I said, Mighty Destroyers, and like that's really the thing that we're losing. Besides Mighty Destroyers, it's like nothing else really feels like it's important. You know? I really can't think of like... We lose Mighty Destroyers. And then I don't really care about the spells. I don't really care about the Wa. The prayers are good. But it's like, I can do without them. I don't care about the Boss Rock Tower. If we care about manifestations, we can always move our Tusk Boss to a place of power. And then we can use it to unbind. Right? To banish. So, like, that's enough if it's kind of a problem for us. Right? It's not a big deal. You could also move your Tusk Boss in deployment up to here. And then activate a place of power to have an unbind. If that was really important to you, like for a particular matchup, but besides that, it's just so much meat. It's just so much meat. And it's really going to punch super hard. And, yeah. We're going to be able to actually take our opponent's side of the board. I don't even know how to deploy this. There's just so many pigs. There's just so many pigs. We'll call that there. Like, do you just put them all on the line? Or are you just like... like, look at this. It's literally a wall of hog flesh. I'm not even turning the other ones sideways. But I could. It's just a wall of hogs. Like, how do you feel as if you're in a, like, playing against this and this is what you're looking at? Like, it's just a lot of pigs. And it's like, yeah, I'll go first. They all have 10 move, and in the first turn I'm gonna, like, re-roll all their charges. Or not, maybe not all of them, but it's like, I'm gonna take this. It's all gonna go 10 inches forward. But just kidding, this one here is gonna go another 10 inches forward because I moved it in deployment. And then my Tusk Boss is gonna auto run, so he's at 17. And then I'm gonna call the Wah, but I'm gonna actually probably move these guys a little bit differently. And then they all get to reroll their charges, right? A little bit of practice with this, right? Another big pig's gonna come up here. Oh, I forgot 2 more big pigs. Just kidding. One of my other, oh no, my, what's it gonna be? My Gouger, my Hack and Crew, and my Tusk Boss are gonna be off here on the flanks. Like, it's just a wall of bloody pigs. It's just a wall of pigs, man. Like, look at this. Anyway, like, it's really, like, it's, I don't know, like, it's fun. It's fun. So these are the 2 that, Will took. These are the 2 that Will took for battle tactics. And there was another one, I feel like, not Wrathful Cycles. Scouting Force could also maybe be taken. But he took Attuned to Gairan and Restless Energy. So let's just have a look at these battle tactics and see how we feel these would play out. Okay, Attuned to Gairan. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are at least 2 friendly units within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield and they are not in combat. This might be one of the easiest lists to do this with because we get a deployment phase move. So even if our opponent is able, like, even if they're a 2-drop Alpha Strike list like us, right? If we take this wall of pigs and we're going to move it 10 inches into the center of the battlefield right at deployment and just create a wall, like a hog wall. it's just so many pigs. Yeah, I mean, like, we should be able to, like, we're going to deny them that, and we're going to sort of take control of the middle, which means hopefully if we're able to, like, push up a little bit, we should be able to take control of the middle of the battlefield with, like, a Tusk Boss and a Gouger without it being too big of an issue. It's just like, yeah, we have some pretty decent defense against Alpha Strike lists. Retreat 2, Charge 2. So when our pigs get a little bit lower, like when we start, if we only have 1 pig left, right? Like, we sort of have them in waves. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be retreating the 2 that are going in earlier, right? Not like our center brick of pigs, but we're going to be retreating some of these other pigs, especially if they've taken some damage, right? If we've lost like a couple pigs, and they're going to be charging these 2 in. And then these guys are going to become objective taking scouts, right? If we're taking Scouting Force. And the last one, no enemies within friendly territory and no enemy units within neutral territory. Again, we're just playing a pin list. And if our opponent, like, this is very also like, because all of these pigs are anti-cavalry, they do deal extra damage against cavalry. If we take a look at the war scroll again for the Gore Gruntas, where are they? Let's see. They have, where are you guys? Right, anti-infantry +1 rend. So when the pigs are actually attacking, it'll be 4s and 3s with 2 rend. All out attack is really the thing. Sorry, that's just my water bottle. Is the thing that we're really missing here. What we have in bounds is some pretty decent burst from our charging. Really good mobility because we're getting like +1, +2, +3, and so on move. And some good anti-cavalry tech and some decent mobility options. What we don't have is a ton of damage. But that's okay. We win on points. But if our opponent is playing an alpha pin list, we're going to have a bunch of this anti-cavalry tech as well. Don't forget that the Grunta charge gets 1 more mortal damage. So instead of it being an average of 13, it's going to be an average of like 18.5. So if our opponent is alpha striking us, cool. We're going to come in with pigs. We're going to create a wall. We're going to come in with pigs from the flank. Yep. So not too bad. Restless Energy. You complete this battle tactic at the end of the turn if you control an objective that was controlled by your opponent at the start of your turn. So one of the other options that you can do, because you're 2-drops, if your opponent is like 3 or 4 drops or whatever, but they're not a really fast, really aggressive army, you can tell them to go first. And in a lot of maps, if we have like a objective in the center of the map, you can just take it back from them, right? Punch them with a bunch of stuff. So that's not too bad. And then the second one is you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control every objective within enemy territory. If there's no objectives within enemy territory, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control every objective that was controlled by your opponent at the start of your turn. And the third one is you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control every objective on the battlefield. So if you just wipe them off the board, which is going to be a little bit tough for us. Scouting Force, I think, might be a little bit easier, especially if you're also playing attuned to Gairan. Getting 3 scouts outside of your territory is not going to be tough. Just, again, we're playing so many bloody pigs. So just to get 3 outside of our territory and not in combat, actually might be a little bit tricky. You'll have to kind of play for it. That means you're only really going to be committing 2 units of pigs right off the bat, and 3 units of pigs are going to have to sit in the background. This might be a reason to break this into 2 groups, so you're just playing like MSU pigs, just so that they're, oh, there's Will hitting me up. Sorry, Will. I'm in the middle of this, I'm in the middle of the video without you, Will. Just kidding. Lots of love to Will. Yeah. And then Attuned to Gairan goes well with scouts too, because we're retreating to get away from combat so we can take stuff. But Restless Energy is basically just like take the whole map, which we can do. I think Attuned to Gairan is the best one maybe for us. And I think that Scouting Force and Restless Energy are kind of going to be, you have to kind of test them out. You could also do Intercept and Recover. But again, like, we have no way of getting really behind. Like, we're fast. But if the opponent wants to, like, screen us out and leave their little foot heroes or, like, little teleporty heroes, we are really fast, especially, like, turn 4. Like, turn 4, our little pigs are moving 13 inches and our big pigs are moving 14 inches. It's just, it's a lot of movement, being able to move that far, right? But, I don't know. It's, I'm pretty interested. One comment that people are making in Discord, which I think is fair, is that a lot of people aren't going to have like these models, right? Because it's like a lot of like spam to own, right? But 3D printers are your friend. This is just a picture of my army here, just what I have for pigs. Like, I have this list, kind of. Technically, I have 2 Gougers and then a Tusk Boss and a Hacking Crew, but I'm just gonna like put a little hat on my other Gouger and make him into a Tusk Boss. But lots of 3D printed stuff in this list here. So 3D printed things are your friends, as a way of just getting like lots and lots of models, right? To run these lists, because I know that obviously GW lists or models are very expensive. So yeah, like, what do you think? Like, what version of this list would you like to run? What in my analysis here do you agree with? What do you not agree with? The alternative to this is to play, I think, essentially lots of pigs in Kragnos. Let me just see. I could probably just throw it together really quick because I already have the list made up. Because I think that without, if you're not going to play the Grunta Stampede list, I think you can probably play Kragnos. It'll play very, very similarly, I believe. But the list looks a little bit more like this. It's like Kragnos, oops, with, I'll just take pigs from here, I guess. With 2 small units of pigs, and then 1 reinforced unit of pigs in one regiment. And the other regiment is 1 of each big pig. This is the list I sort of came up with earlier. So it's far fewer pigs. It's 4 sort of units of pigs instead of 6 units of pigs. And that can't be right. The math doesn't add up. Oh no, and it's a tusk boss. So it's you lose 2 times 3 units of pigs and a tusk boss, and instead you get Kragnos. And then you also like don't get, you know, the Wa. You have 2 heroes, so you can do an Iron Jaws Wa, but again that Wa isn't as impactful. All the models are moving at 9 and 10, but they do get a 3d6 charge, but they lose the ability to re-roll all their charges in an AoE. You also lose the movement phase deployment. You know, you're still not taking a shaman. You're still not putting a boss rock tower down. You're still not doing much. You're still just kind of running a wall of pigs. So I don't know. I'm kind of feeling that the Grunta Stampede does better. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Join the Discord. Like, subscribe. Wow.